We are starting the first plenary session, leveraging local resources and innovations for development, the role of public and private sector actors. Leveraging local resources and innovations for development, the role of public and private sector actors. I hereby, please, can we take our seats? Can we take our seats? We are going into the business now. Let's take our seats. I hereby have the privilege to welcome on stage the chairman of session, our own AJ Silicon, Alhaji Razak Jaiola, FCA.
Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Yeah, I'm really very excited to be here this morning to chair this session. The Western Zonal Accountants Conference being hosted by IGDS, Ilupeju District Society. Chairing the first session like you've heard, and the topic is leveraging local resources and innovations for development, the role of public and private sector actors. Our great president, our 61st president, our vice president, I join others in wishing you happy birthday. I could see you are extra radiant this morning. We thank the Almighty Allah for yourself. The President, Malam Haruna Yaya, MNI, PhD, FCA, our Vice President, our revered past presidents in attendance here, our senior past president, Senator Chief Kola Bajomo, our Mrs. Ambassador Dr. Comfort Eitayo, our distinguished council members here present, my distinguished colleagues, our guest speaker, Opsman, Osman, men of accuracy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm highly honored to chair this plenary session titled Leveraging Local Resources and Innovations for Development, the role of public and private sector actors within the broader theme of this conference, revitalizing the Nigerian economy for sustainable economic development, accelerating new frontiers. For us as accountants, the discussion goes to the core of our professional responsibility. Nigeria is richly endowed with human, natural, financial, institutional resources. Yet, our recurring challenge has not been the absence of resources, but weaknesses in how those resources are planned, governed, deployed, and accounted for. In the face of global economic uncertainty and fiscal constraints, sustainable development will increasingly depend on how effectively we harness local content, indigenous innovation, and homegrown enterprise, supported by strong financial management, credible data, transparent reporting, and sound governance. This session highlights the complementary roles of the public and private sectors, with accountants providing the discipline, accountability, and trust that make collaboration effective. We have, as we have been introduced, our guest speaker for this morning. I can assure you, having gone through her profile, that we are in for a very, very lively session, particularly from a SWAN member. All SWAN, over to you, madam.
Good morning. I hope I have a protocol to stand on. I've heard the chairman gave a bit of salutation, but I told the organizing committee that this is a setup. Why would a woman be the one to start the plenary session? Obviously, they didn't tell me that until probably a couple of days ago. Maybe I would have revolted. But I think it's a good thing. Women lead the pace. Up, SWAN. All right. I think I have a confession to make. I haven't said that to most people in the recent times. I got so involved in accounting because my father was an accountant. I don't know why he so much wanted me to be an accountant. But as time goes on, I realized that that was what I actually needed to have. In a recent post that I made while posting this, I said, accounting for me is not a profession. It's my first love. When your father is an accountant, all you breathe and smell and know all your life as a baby is how to be an accountant. And you know the good part, anytime we go to him and ask for money, he's always giving us. I thought because he was an accountant. Accountants are never broke. Are we broke? So for me, if anybody asks, why do you want to be an accountant? Because my dad is rich. How he's doing it, I don't know. But I guess now I understand better that he's just a father. The second thing that I love so much, while I was a student, I started my accounting career at a very, very early stage. I did 8 years. I did the stage 1, stage 2. I did stage 3 because at a point I have to move overseas. I went there, I went to go and do ACCA. So you can imagine I've never had an exception. I'm always doing and doing and doing. So I am a product of core accounting training. And then one thing that I look forward to, I said one day I'm going to qualify. By the time I qualify, I want to be a member of SWAN. Those were the two major things that kept me going. I want to be a member of SWAN. And by the time I graduated, can you imagine the first thing that I did? I went to Ebute Meta to go and register that I want to be a member of SWAN. Okay. So it's always good, and I'm saying this that at every stage of our life, looking back now, I'm like, why was I so much interested in accounting? Because of those reasons. But I guess those were the things that I needed. So let me come back. Since there are no many protocols, I will start by recognizing the presence of our able chairman, Madam Vice Chair and President. Happy birthday once again. It's a good day that today is your birthday. And then I'll come back and recognize all the members of the council, members of Western Zone executives, the conference chairman, members of the conference organizing committee, distinguished guests, fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to stand before this August gathering in February, because this is February, but it's an August gathering, to deliver a paper in this 28th Western Annual Conference. Although the theme of this year's conference is revitalizing the Nigerian economy for sustainable development, accelerating new frontiers, I will be presenting a paper on leveraging local resources and innovation, the role of public and private actors. That is the topic they gave me. But I want to give a kudos to the organizing committee that coined out this topic, because I delved more into it and I had to bring myself back and say, hey, you have limitations. You can't do more than the assigned hours to you, because every aspect of this topic are interwoven. By the time we delve into it, I'm sure we will understand what I'm saying. I don't know whether the presentation is going to be projected or I should just run through it. Is it going to be projected? Okay. Okay, that's fine. The way I want us to break it, I'm not just going to be an academia this morning. I want to drop a whole lot of food for thoughts for us. It would not be justifiable for us to come and sit down here for maybe 1.5 hours, and if they ask us, what did we take out of it? I'm sure we've been attending conferences every year, and it's one of those things because we want to go and sit and represent, I am an ICANN member. But for me this morning, I want to drop, at every point, I want to drop a food for thought for us, for our individual development, for our corporate development, for our organization development. What are we going to take out? So by the time I run through some issues, I'm going to leave you to say, this is a food for thought. Some of them will have the answer, and some will probably need to go research more. And that was why I said I want it to be a bit interactive. I don't say you're going to be talking, but I want to get your feedback. Your feedback will let me know that truly she's actually talking. The way I want to address this, I'm breaking this topic into 3 sections. They said the first aspect is leveraging local resources and innovations for development. Under that area, I want to talk about local resources and innovation. I'm sure a primary 5-year-old understands what resources is all about, what innovation is all about. But in this context, for development, which development? I want to address that part. Then the second part talks about the role of public and private actors. I want to see it as the interplay between public and private sectors. Why do we need that? Is there any need for that? What is the benefit of that? That is the second aspect. And then before I get to the concluding part, I want to talk about 1 or 2 case sensitives that we've seen, what has happened. And then I believe that at the end of the day, we will all have 2 or 3 food for thought for our individual development. Because if we're not successful, our organizations can't be successful, and our nation as a whole can't be successful. So let's delve into it. I'm going to take a bit of time on this background area. To be candid, by the time we're done with this slide, I think my job will be finished. Every other thing will just be academia. Because to me, the crucifix of the whole topic is on this slide. We all agree right now, except we want to deceive ourselves. And that's why I said I will be getting and be looking for the feedback. There is a paradigm shift. Not the way we used to do things 10, 15, 20 years ago. There is a global development landscape which is undergoing a significant transformation, emphasizing sustainable and inclusive growth models. This shift is driven by recognition of the limitations inherent in externally driven top-down approach, which often fail to address unique local context and may foster dependency rather than true empowerment. Can we pause? I want us to read this and digest these statements. I intentionally highlighted some sentences there. Oh, really? Okay, all right. So the parts that I highlighted there is the fact that there is a shift already, and we've all seen it on the sheet. Why is that shift? because there is limitation in the current system, the current approaches to doing things. And then, what are we looking for? Importance of locally grounded strategies. We've all recognized that the way we're doing it isn't working, is not as efficient as it used to be or it needs to be, and then we need to move forward. Then the next slide, I want to talk about resources. We all thought anytime anybody asks you about resources, you will say, oh, resources is land, cars, everything you think. But in the real sense, when you're talking of economic growth, resources is not just natural resources. Resources could be divided into these 4 categories. Natural resources, human capital and skills, indigenous knowledge, institutional and social capital. I'm sure we could all read that. We know what natural resources is all about. The key thing that I want to mention here, Nigeria, aside from the crude oil that we have 44 natural resources. The first food for thought. How many of those resources have we fully developed? How many of those have we maximized? As a nation, as an organization, and as an individual. Let's take that home. On the human capital skills, Nigeria is blessed with great assets of our youth. We're more than 230 million. What have we done? Are we really competing internationally? Look at what is happening in India. They are exporting their youth, they're exporting their human capital. What are we doing in Nigeria? Another food for thought. Then we get to indigenous knowledge. We don't really appreciate what we have because we believe in expatriates. My industry, oil and gas, gone are those days, and I'm glad we're shifting. We're trying to make the change. Gone are those days that some positions in the oil and gas, you as a Nigerian can't even die. Somebody like me as a woman, I can't sit with them in the boardroom. I can't sit with them when they're talking engineering. But I lead a company where I discuss, I direct, I give instruction to the engineers, both the foreign and the local ones. Why are we doing that? Because there is a need for paradigm shift. Then we get to the institutional and social capital. What we're talking about here is linking to the second aspect of the topic, that we need to synergize the relationship between private and public sector. Next slide. Now, we've left the local resources. We're on innovation. If I ask anybody, what is innovation? The first thing that comes to mind is, oh, IT, technology. Far from it. Innovation goes beyond that. From the history and beginning of mankind, we've had innovation. Even before technology becomes anything. How did we even know that we need to cover ourselves? How did we know that we need to pound yam and make it pounded yam? How did we know we need to take melon and use it to cook? Those are the little innovations that we don't even recognize. And that's why you see me breaking it down here. The most popular one to all of us now is the technological innovation. And guess what? We've seen what is happening. We've seen the fintech industries. We've seen companies like Flutterwave. We've seen what they're doing. They are making use of the local resources to solve bottleneck and dissolve issues. Gone are those days that we need to go and use MasterCard, Visa to process our payments. Those are the benefit of adapting technology to our local resources. Then the non-technological innovation that I said, that is social and business innovation. The way we do things, they are mainly homegrown. Nigeria is mainly constituted by informal sectors. All those mamas in the Lagos Island, they're not part of our regulated economy, but they comprise more than 70%. Do you know how many things those people are innovating? They keep going to China every day to go and tell them what to do. Those are the non-technological innovation that we're experiencing. Now that we've discussed and talked about technology, we've talked about non-technology innovation, we've talked about local resources. Now, we're saying, why do we have to put together and consider the effects of local resources and innovation together? This slide, I believe most of us know it. I'm just going to run through it. We've seen it there. Can we get to the next slide, please? I'm talking about the benefits and advantages of our local resources and innovation together. We have cost-effective development. We all know that. Sustainability and resilience. When you have, when you master how to use your local resources and innovation together, you are bound to have sustainable development and growth. We have inclusive participation. That is one of the main goals of exploiting your local resources. Then we have reduced dependency, which is the first thing you see in the first slide. That when we start utilizing our local resources, we will reduce our dependency on external driven strategies. We'll start looking inward, and that's what the world is doing. Every economy is looking inward now. Then the next slide. The indispensable role of the public sector. Don't forget that the topic they gave me has 2 sections: leveraging on local resources and innovation. But we're getting to the second section, the interplay of public and private sector. We all know what public sector is all about, our government. Let me summarize it before we run through it. Public sector is our government. The way we see them, they are the enablers. We see them as referees. We see public sector as the referees, the enabler. We see us in the private sector as the people that execute. But gone are those days. The world is moving and we need to quickly catch up. What we have here, the role of public sector. This is as we all know it, as we all understood. That public sector is the one in charge of policy and regulation. We've all seen that. For us in oil and gas, they're the one that creates the Nigerian content. They are the one that create the PIA. For the finance industry, government is always a regulator. CBN, we know what they're doing. Infrastructural development. Without any infrastructure, no economy can grow. That is the main responsibility of our public sector. It is not just to provide social welfare, because that's what we see them campaign during the election. But for us in the business sector, we look up to the government for infrastructure development. Then the main thing, education and research. Government is the one that's supposed to sponsor, champion, spearhead the development of our education. And I use the word research. Government is the one that's supposed to champion the risky research. You know what we call risky research? When you don't see any foresight, when you just want to go into it raw and crude. Private sectors can go and develop on what government has done. But the risky ones that you don't even know where you're going, that you're just going to be mounting up your cost, those are responsibility of our public sector. And then the last point here, they need to incentivize, coordinate, and include everybody, every aspect of economy. Those are the responsibilities of our public sector. Then, like I said, there is a main thing that public sector needs to do. And that, the next slide, please. The public sector, as I said, they were the enabler of progress. If they don't start it, if they don't initiate it, if they are not there to encourage, if they don't give us a platform, the private sector cannot survive. If they are not giving us the enabling environment to thrive, if government is not giving the incentive that we need, we all know it. And those are part of what we've been suffering in the last 5 to 10 years. Most investors, we find it hard to attract foreign direct investment into the country. You know why? Because everybody is scared that at the end of every 4 years, there's going to be change in government, there's going to be change in policy. How do we know our money is safe? How do we know what will happen? That is the major thing that we need government for. How stable are they? What can we do as accountants? Most of us in this place are not from private sectors. Some of us are from public sectors. The tax officers, the CFOs, accountant general office people. What are you doing to contribute to making the economic growth a much more robust and enabling environment? Let's take that back home. And then one other thing that I see there, that they need, of course, the issue of accountability and transparency. I don't want to go there because I'm on live. But that is one of the major roles that the government needs to give us. And then they need to protect public interest. Now, I'm moving to private sector. We believe some of these things are known to everybody. This is what we expect the private players to do. They are the one that activate the innovation and entrepreneurship. We all know that. Government cannot develop a commercial economy. It takes me and you, it takes the private players, it takes the private sectors to do what they need to do. Then who is going to mobilize capital? It is the private sector that will do that. We're the one that will attract, build on the innovation, the research, attract foreign direct investment based on the environment the government would have given us. Then one more other thing that we do is market expansion. It is only the private sector that does that. So if we have identified those things that are being done by private sectors, we've identified things that are being done by public sectors. One other thing that I want us to look at is the job creation and CSR. Gone are those days that we leave it to government alone to be providing the CSR welfare for the economy. No, about 40 to 35% of every organization's budget nowadays, especially in my industry, in oil and gas, you have to take care of your community, you have to have community host trust fund, you have to have your CSR. So it is about 40% of my budget. That is aside my operational cost. So as much as we're contributing to the economy by employing people, we are contributing to the social welfare of the society. But in addition to all those, this is the critical aspect of private sector participation in the industry. You see that I divided it into three here. It is the private sector that enhances the competitive innovation. We all know what that means. Most competitions stimulate continuous improvement. When you get to efficient resource utilization, we all know what public sector is all about. It's all about social welfare. But the private sector is about efficiency and maximization of resources. But for value chain management, we've seen companies like Dangote, Innocent. Dangote is one company, but do you know how many companies that are expanding, that are thriving just because of what Dangote and Innocent are doing? By the time I get to the case study, I have a very good, how will I say it, interesting case study that I would like to share with us. So these are the roles of both private and public player. Then why do we need to have both of them together? The way I've been describing it, they seems to be at the extreme end of the spectrum. Public is on the right, private is on the left. But there is a paradigm shift. Both of them needs to move and meet in the middle. Because when they meet in the middle, it's been tested all over the world that the productivity triple. There is a multiplier effect. And that's why I thought the organizers of this event want us to talk about it. If they come together, what are we expecting? The things that we're expecting. Next slide, please. Yes. If public and private sector comes together, we're expecting complementary roles. Gone are those days that government sit down there as referee. They need to leave their position. They need to come down and work with the private sector to maximize efficiency. The next point that I have here is shared resources of risk. There is so much joint venture nowadays. Enhanced development impact. So those are the main things that we see them do. The next slide, please. When government and private sectors come together, this is what we see them achieve. Government reduce barriers, private actors innovate. And one thing that I would like to talk about, I'm sure most of us are aware of the Lagos Deep Sea Port and the IPP project. We've seen what has happened. If most of us get to that area now, it's a separate economy on its own. All because public and government comes together to make a venture. Then let's come back home. Since we've all agreed that both government and private sector needs to come together, what is our role as accountants? Or are we just going to sit down there? Are we really equipped? Are we leveraged? Do we have what it takes to participate in this space? Because this is a $1 billion space. It is different from what they taught us in school. They taught us government accounting separately. They taught us management accounting separately. There is a new set of accounting because you need to merge government accounting, which is on cash basis, versus accrual accounting basis of accounting. You need to merge it together because these two entities are together now, making a venture happen. Are we positioned for that? If there are opportunities for us to participate in such ventures, are we truly ready? Do we have what it takes? Then the final case study that I would like to run us through. This is I don't know how many of us know about Egina fabrication capacity. If anybody knows, please raise your hand. Egina. Okay, I'll use 2 minutes to explain it. Egina is the largest FPSO, floating production storage oil facility in the world. In the world. And that largest FPSO is times 20 of this place. Is an FPSO that they use to store crude oil. Is in Nigeria, owned by Total. Guess who fabricated and made that? It is made by Samsung and a company called Lador. That FPSO alone cost $16 billion. It has never been done in Africa or any developing countries. But Lador is a fully owned Nigerian company. They did the whole fabrication of that. And the fabrication alone cost $3 billion. And guess what? When they were constructing that FPSO, they sent 238 engineers overseas to go and learn the OEM. They trained 1,288 Nigerians, and they were all in Nigeria as we speak. That is the first of its kind in the world. Because Lador decided to leverage local resources. And while I was writing this up 2 days ago, I thought about the profit Lador will make. I said, $3 billion. Even if it is just 10%, that's $380 million. Cool money. If you see the MD of the company, he's like this, small like me. But they're doing big things. All because they decide to leverage on local resources. How many of us are positioned to be a company like Lador? How many of us really want to make that kind of money? Because I want to. That's where I'm going. I'm on the road. That is why I felt this topic is given at the right time. We need to come out of our shelf. We need to start thinking of how to make it. I'm sure Lador never thought they can do it, but they eventually did it. I will now leave you on that note and get to the conclusion that we all need to start thinking out of the box and see how we can leverage local resources to sustain inclusive development. The last, please, the conclusion, please. Yes. Oh, just go to conclusion because these are just challenges and control. Yes. So the conclusion, like I said, I love to leave you with what a company, a fully owned company, go and research them, did. And since that time, Lador has grossed more than $10 billion because countries from all over the world have started coming to them to ask them to fabricate all sorts. Their yard is in Apapa, Snake Island. We know them. They did it. We can all do it. All because they decided to leverage the belief in the engineers. Now, Lador is not using any expatriates anymore. In our company, we don't have any expatriates anymore because we brought back all the engineers that are working from all over the world. As we leave this conference, one thing that I want us to take away, let's challenge ourselves. The innovation. Don't think of innovating. I read something about a week ago. I like to read. And a Chinese man was telling a black man, and I would love us to take that, please. He said, you are too late to the game. And I want all of us to believe that. We cannot just say we want to start inventing right now. He said China never starts any invention. We look for an existing invention, we build on it, we look for the loopholes, we make it work. If you want to start anything, you will be competing against the rock. Let us start telling ourselves in Nigeria, if China could say we cannot start innovating now, who are we in Nigeria? We need to start looking for innovations. Look for the loopholes, adapt them to our local environment, and see how we can make it work. Look at what FlutterWave does. What they're doing, about 20 years ago, we would think we can't compete with Visa, we can't compete with MasterCard, but they did it. So I want us to have something at the back of our mind that we can do it. You cannot go beyond what your mind can comprehend. There are enormous local resources in Nigeria that we can make work. I am a product of such. And I can tell you, we can all do it. I'll leave you on that note. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for her, please. You could see the confidence of a swan, isn't it? A swan. Look at the quality of the presentations. If many of us are asked, I can use Word, I can use Excel, I can use PowerPoint. PowerPoint pass PowerPoint. Look at the quality. Another round of applause. I want to congratulate Ilupeju and District for fishing her out for us. This is a highly resourceful person for our data and IT faculty, for our ME&T, for our corporate finance, and so on. Another round of applause, please. Now, you could see how she has dealt with the topic. We had to shorten our time because we started very late, and we don't want to encroach too much into the other something. So, I'm just going to give a brief summary, and we'll take 4 questions. 2 from this side, 2 from this side. The presentation by Mrs. Veronica Folonshaw, FCA, clearly demonstrated that sustainable and inclusive development is best achieved by leveraging local resources and indigenous innovation, supported by strong collaboration between the public and private sectors. The presenter highlighted the limitations externally driven development models and emphasized the need for locally grounded, community-owned solutions. She gave examples, isn't it, that reflect local realities. Local resources were broadly defined to include not only natural resources, but also human capital, indigenous knowledge, and institutional and social capital. Innovation was presented as the engine of value creation, with both technological and non-technological solutions emerging from within communities playing a critical role. The public sector was positioned as an enabler through policy, infrastructure, education, and regulation, while the private sector drives innovation, capital mobilization, market access, and job creation. The Egina FPSO project was cited as evidence that complex projects can be successfully executed in country when deliberate local content policies are pursued. Finally, the presentation emphasized the strategic role of accountants as custodians of value, governance, and accountability. Despite existing challenges, the central message was clear: harnessing what exists locally is practical, empowering, and essential for long-term national development. Another round of applause, please. So, who are those who would like to ask questions? Yeah, one. One more from this side. At the back, yes, start coming down. From this side, stand up. Yes, madam, up swan. Come out, come out. One more. No more from this side. Where is it? Oh yeah, come. So, Dr. Prince Oyibade Oyedepo. Past chairman, come. Past chairman, Western Zonal Conference. President, Global President, MFP International. Round of applause for him, please. Yes, very quickly.
Thank you very much, our past president, Dr. Razak Jayola FC. Mine is not a question, but a comment and recommendation to the government. The paper presenter mentioned private sector. The one that has always been given priority by the government is those that are in the formal sector, of the private sector, leaving out the unorganized private sector. And the unorganized private sector, constitutes the largest share, and they contribute to the development of the nation. But they don't have a voice because they are not organized. My suggestion is that government should make them become organized in order for them to have a voice to carry out the responsibilities of nation building. The moment they remain unorganized and you continue to ascribe responsibility to them, they will not perform it effectively. That's my suggestion.
Thank you so much. Your point is well noted.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Your name, please.
Oluwatobi Okoma is my name.
Membership number.
The lead trainer, Quest No Services, MB 051561. My question is, from your experience, Ma, what are the biggest mistakes an organization can make when trying to develop local resources? What are the biggest mistakes an organization or a firm can make when trying to develop local resources? Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, identify yourself.
My name is Felix Fashino, MB 057145. My question is that I want her to throw more light in the area of resources. She mentioned a lot of resources, human capital resources and all of that. But in my mind, something flashed my mind, which is resources she did not mention. And that has to do with influence. In all the resources she has mentioned, woman influence play a very greater role. My question is, how do we develop a platform where such human resources, human influence will be maximized? For instance, for me, just a minute, in the little influence in my corridor, I discovered that the current tax reform that we are in needed a clarity and simplicity in handling. So I decided to open a platform called Tax Clinic Corner, of which many tax professionals are there, including a lot. Our current president has even done something on that platform. So I'm thinking, in our own base, at least the oil industry, how best can she organize a human influence capacity for further development of the professionals in the industry? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Last person.
My name is Dr. Fashua Enrikende. So my membership number is 044008. My question is more or less like the last person, but in form of collaboration and security. And when you are talking, my mind flashed back to Diamond Theory of Michael Porter, who is talking about the focus. So I actually believe there is focus. But my question is this: I've understood the situation we are passing through in our country, and what is the step can we take as professional body to reduce what you call maybe barrier to developer in form of security and not being run away from our country?
Thank you very much for those questions and contributions. I can on air, please take note. He's a highly resourceful person for us, please.
Let me start. Those are very critical questions. Let me start with the first one that says, how do you avoid mistakes in an organization when developing local resources? Let us face it. I have a bad news and a good news for you. You cannot totally avoid mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. If anybody tells you that you can expand without having mistakes, without burning your fingers, they are lying. The only thing you need to do from the beginning, you need to set up controls. What tells you? What tells you when you're going too far? What pushes you too far? That, oh, I think I've crossed this. And it's always good to have division of labors in every organization. In my team, for example, I'm a very risk taker. I run, I move, I take no for an answer. But I have a solid CFO. He's the brain behind calm down. We're going too far. Have you digested this? I always have everybody in the team. There is a good call, there is a bad call. When we're trying to look for what to do, your own role is to be the good man, be running. Your own role is to be stopping us. Your own role is to stay back. So you need to have that among your team. Let some people be going out, be looking for business opportunities. Let some people be the one that will be reviewing it. And let some people be the voice of reasoning, the chief whip. If you don't have those combinations, you may not necessarily have those qualities in your team, but you can outsource them. We are running a very lean organization. But guess what? There is no resources that we need that we don't get. All we need to do is know where to get them. Those are the trainings that I have gotten from my 20 years of working in an establishment. But I cannot start like that. I have to identify how to source for those things. So to go back to your question, you need to have division of labor, you need to have controls in place, and you need to constantly be going back to the drawing board. Have a blueprint. What do we want to achieve? If you have that blueprint, you'll be going back there. But to say you will not burn your fingers, you're not ready for advancement. I hope I'm clear. Then the second question talks about local resource as human influence. You are talking, I've seen some of my colleagues here, and they can identify, they can testify to what I want to say. I came from nowhere, but I am where I am today because of the human influence. I worked 20-something years in an industry. All those years, I was building influence every day. I do not have any foreign partner. We're running and managing 3 oil blocks. How did we get there? Influence. It is a major thing that anybody that wants to expand need. Maybe anybody that is interested, I'll probably forward it to the organizing committee. I have a paper that I presented sometimes last year on how to network. Most of us are selfish. It is when we need people that we run after them. It is when we need things that we look for them. No. Networking, human influence, it's a day job. You want to benefit from it, you got to work it out. You got to have a plan. It's like the way they taught us in school. I broke it down for them. You don't follow, if you miss any of those, you can never reap on human influence. It's the major asset, especially if you are starting low and if you want to harness the local resources. The relationships that you have, the people that you know, the technology, the access. Do you know what it is to have access? I am not rich, but there is no door that I cannot open because I have access. And you know what? I cultivate over 20-something years. So it is a major, that's why I put it under human capital. And the last part of the point, I said infrastructure and institutional. That is heavier than time can allow me to say. So anybody that want to stay on their own, that want to start small and grow bigger, go and write it down. Put it beside your bed, put it in your office. How do I develop my influence as human capital? So we can't, there is no two way from it, except you are into politics. Even the politicians, they use their influence, and then you now want to run a business, and you think you want to be a one-man show. Maybe you are Dangote's son, maybe your dad has worked for you, but if you want to walk it, you got to walk it through and sweat it out. Then the third part, the person said something, I think I've missed that part, I can't remember. He was saying something about lobbies. How can ICANN? I'm sorry, Mr. President, are we a member of lobbyist groups, sir? We need to. There is an OPTS. Every industry have lobbyist group. We need to have that in ICANN. I'm sorry to say so. Lobbyist is an approved organization all over the world. America is being run by lobbyists. You know why they cannot remove the gun? Because there are lobbyist organizations. It is not because Americans love guns. They see how people are dying every day. But those people in charge of keeping the ammunition business, they are doing a fantastic job. In the oil industry, we have all sorts of, we call it OPTS, commercial chambers. ICANN need to have a subcommittee group, sir, that we will make ourselves known in all these chambers of commerce. And you know what we'll be doing? We'll be pushing the interest of our members. Our members will come and tell us this is what we want, and then when we get there, we'll push the interest. I believe that's part of what we're paying the subscription for. That's why we're coming here. We need to participate in politics, in lobbies. We need to be there. Until we're ready to play the game, we will be behind. And let me give you an expo. The Bar Association, the lawyers, they're doing a good job at that. We can say that behind the curtain. So I believe ICANN need to do more. If you need to set up subcommittees, we will do that. We will set up framework where we present ourselves as lobbyists for the benefit of our members. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure she has done good justice to those questions and answers. Can we give her a round of applause? Let me just quickly add, without sounding defensive, that we do lobby in ICANN. It may not be formalized the way she's talking about. Right from past presidents and all, we all have various lobbying groups, depending on what issue we want to tackle and so on and so forth. You know, but we take note of what she has said. Another round of applause for her, please. On that note, we bring this session to an end. Thank you.
Can you please put your hands together, put your hands together, put your hands together, and celebrate the chairman of session and the speaker of the first plenary session for that beautiful session. Thank you very much, sir and ma. Before that, we have a token of love to appreciate the beautiful presentation we have enjoyed. And to present first to the speaker, Mrs. Veronica Folorosho, I have the singular honor to bring forward Alhaji Mikahil Olalekan Ogundiran, FCA, a past zonal chairman, 2016-2018, to present this token of love to our presenter. Please celebrate him as he comes forward, please.
This is fantastic. This is very, very fantastic. All conference chairman, the 20th edition of our Western Zone Akatan Conference, all the members of the team, all chairmen of this society in the Western Zone, Up I can. Up I can. Forward ever, backward never, by the grace of Almighty God. The chairman of this occasion, this particular session, I have the honor to present on behalf of the entire members of ICANN Western Zone a token of appreciation to the paper presenter who has done us a very great honor. One, by coming forward to do justice to the topic given to her, by coming very promptly to do that assignment. On behalf of every one of us here, I present this token of appreciation to Mrs. Veronica Folorunsho, FCA. Thank you very much, and God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so very much, our past zonal chairman, for doing us this honor to present a token of love to the paper presenter. Thank you so much. Now to appreciate our own revered past president, popularly known as AJ Silicon, Dr. Razak Jaiola, FCA. To do that is his very good friend, whom he has also been given a very good accolade while on the stage. Put your hands together as I bring forward the past zonal chairman, 2010 to 2012, Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo, FCA.
Thank you for giving me the honor to present this plaque to my big brother, my friend and my confidant, Dr. Razak Adeleke Jaiola, who has moderated this session. And you will agree with me that he moderated it perfectly. Please give him a wonderful round of applause. On behalf of the 64th President of ICANN, members of the Presidency, the Council, the leadership of Western Zone, I present this to you in appreciation of what you have done here for us this morning, moderating the first session perfectly. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, sir. We celebrate you. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together again and celebrate Dr. Razak Jaiola, FCA. And thank you very much, Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo, FCA. Now we want to quickly take a photograph session in order to put this as a memorial. To join us on this podium is the 61st ICANN President, the Vice President, the First Deputy Vice President, the Second Deputy Vice President, Registrar Chief Executive, the Western Zonal Chairman, the Conference Chairman, and the Conference Director. Please join us here on the podium for a group photograph. Please, if you have the representatives of Oyo State Governor, Osun State Governor, Ogun State Governor in the house, please let our protocol officers know for proper recognitions. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We are glad to have you in our midst.